One of our guests had a real life UFO experience. Stay tuned to find out who.
He's a Florida witch with something to say. Your friendly old sage with a teddy bear face. The Alexian Show. The magic's on its way. He's all set to play, so let's not delay. Welcome to Alexian Show.
Merry meet, everyone. We're back. I'm Alexian, and joining me as my co-host is Draken.
Hey.
What's up?
You know what? Not much. Just ready to go.
Third show.
I know.
I feel like we just started,
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I was looking over the analytics on YouTube yesterday, and the views are going up. The subscribers are going up.
And that's the thing.
Life is good. We love you guys. We're so thankful for our guests here today, our sponsors, and all of you guys, our viewers, for watching, because, otherwise it would be pointless for us to do all of this, right? If you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, they're available now for replay. And you can even turn them on while you're driving. Or if you're like me, I have like this Bluetooth speaker and I connect it to my phone and I listen to things in the shower. This is my Bluetooth shower speaker. So I listen to a ton of podcasts and even audiobooks and stuff inside the shower. Does anybody else do that?
Yeah, we have a speaker in our light, a Bluetooth speaker in our light.
In the light?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I never heard of that.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool. So where's everybody tuning in from today in the viewership out there? Let's get some states. What's happening in the comments?
We got Janet from Columbus, Ohio.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And then we've got Russell from Texas.
Russell. Hey, Russell. Hey, Janet from Ohio.
And then we've got Eric. I don't remember where he's from, but he's been with us before.
Hey, Eric. Eric's actually going to be with us next month on the show as a guest.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And then we got Sandra from Foley,
Sandra's
Alabama.
back from Alabama. Y'all got a roll at the end of the show. She won the prizes last time.
South Florida.
He's from South Florida. Cool. Well, I just want to remind everybody that this is an interactive show, and there will be a question and answer opportunity at the end of each guest's segment. Draken will be covering the comment section in YouTube, so don't be shy and speak up and ask your questions by typing them into the comments, okay? Don't be shy. Ask. This is your opportunity. But we do have a great show for you today. With us today is Pagan recording artist and drummer Sue Balaschak from Primal Rhythm, the band. And also with us today is Salem witch and psychic Debra Lori. But let me set this up correctly. I wanted to just take a second and congratulate Sandra again, who won our April Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of the show. And today you could be the winner of the bundle of goodies. And oh my goodness, we got some goodies today to give away from our current guests and sponsors. You don't want to miss that. It's at the end of the show, so stay tuned. And it's really easy to enter. All you do is type in a comment with a specific hashtag, which I'll let you know what that is at that point. Yes. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, head over to alexianmusic.com/guest and fill out the form. It's really easy to apply. It only takes about 5 minutes or less, and you might be on this show in the near future. Who else is tuning in?
Let's see. Let's get back over here. Nobody's mentioning
Nobody's mentioning yet. Okay. Well, they'll trickle in. You know how it is. Pagan Standard
Yeah.
Time, herding
Just
cats,
watch
all
it
that.
quietly.
All right. So everybody that is watching or watching in the future, please smash those like buttons and subscribe and ring our bell so you don't miss the monthly show every month. YouTube will actually remind you if you ring that bell. And smashing the likes affects the algorithm and helps spread the word automatically. You don't have to lift a finger. But if you would like to be a helper, you can share the show with your like-minded friends and on your socials to help, spread the word. Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring on our first guest.
It's time for Enchanted Verse.
Today, we're thrilled to have a very special guest, Sue Balaschak, the creative force behind the sensational Primal Rhythm, a female drum ensemble that is not just making music, but creating waves of energy connecting mind, body, and spirit with Mother Earth. A visionary recording artist from Cleveland, Ohio, Sue has turned her passion into a living through the Primal Rhythm Ensemble. She offers experiences that extend far beyond the stage with workshops and classes aimed at drummers of all levels. So let's dive in deep to the rhythms that connect us all with Sue Balaschak.
Hey,
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
So wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Life is great. Cleveland weather today is awesome. And yeah. Sunshine and beautiful.
Excellent. Of course, we met on the Red album, which is why I'm splashing it on the screen now.
Yes.
And I got to know you through that project and your
Yes.
wonderful work that you do.
Thank you.
If you are not familiar with the Red album, it is available for sale as CDs and now also USB bracelets, which are the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you remember, Sue, when they announced that, like I was freaking out. I was like, what? I had never heard of it before.
Right on.
But
Yeah.
it's a USB bracelet. It has the logo and the printing on it and everything. But on that USB is not only the album, but it also has all of the artwork. It has the stories behind how the artwork came into being. It has the video teasers that I produced for the project. It has a complete songbook, in fact, with all of the words and the chord chain. You know how you can, like, as a guitarist or a pianist, you can play the actual chord changes with. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
And Ginger Ackley is the one that put that book together.
She did. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things on that USB bracelet that you can't find anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Cool. Yeah. Technology is cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Come a long way.
Yes. So tell us about Primal Rhythm.
Okay. Primal Rhythm. Primal Rhythm came into fruition back in 2005. Thank you for putting that up there. I was in the band Burning Sage, professional drummer all my life. And at that time, in the early 2000s, Sage was performing, and we took a little hiatus. And it was winter, and I was a little bored, to be honest with you. And I thought, well, I'm going to put together a workshop style CD for people that are in rural areas. They can't find a drum circle. They're snowbound, can't get out of the house. So I created the Primal Rhythm logo, the Primal Rhythm, everything, the brand. And along with creating that brand was the first disc, as mentioned. It's called Primal Rhythm 1. I still sell it and sent it out for people that wanted to drum. And it went really well. I actually ended up having 3 of the tracks picked up that were on a film that toured Sundance, the Sundance Film Festival. So that was my first royalties off of that record. And that toured really well, and this disc did very, very well. Sage, we regrouped and we went back on the road again. I backburned Primal Rhythm. Throughout the course of the years that went on and on and on, I started branding and putting Primal Rhythm back out there. I started doing a lot of drum workshops. And when I sold myself as a person to do drum workshops, I went out as Primal Rhythm. So there is a little confusion, well, is Primal Rhythm a band? Are you Primal Rhythm? What is the what? So I'm explaining it. Primal Rhythm, I do workshops, I sell djembes, I sell all kind of merch, drum merch. There is a drum ensemble, and how that developed was, I thought the CDs were doing really well. I have Primal Rhythm 1, Primal Rhythm 2. They were doing really well. And I thought, wow, you know what? It'd be really, really cool, just awesome to put this record live, create this record into a live performance. And I thought it would be kick ass to get some chicks that can really play and bring this record to life and take it on tour. So that's what we've been doing. So Primal Rhythm Ensemble, the band, the first bunch of girls that I put together was way back in 2010. And we toured for a couple years. It was always a little on the back burn because I loved working with Lynn and Burning Sage, and I love playing my kit, and the kit is my first instrument. So Primal Rhythm always kind of took a back seat, but we did exist. And when COVID came, the truth of it is, when COVID came, Lynn decided to call it quits with Sage. And I said to her, I says, well, I'm going to resurface Primal Rhythm. So we've been going strong since COVID. And truthfully, there's no turning back. We're doing really good. We're having a great time. The picture there are the band right now, the 4 current members. And if you're looking at the screen from left to right is Michelle. Michelle's been with me from the beginning. Annie is the newbie. And Donnie has been around. Donnie's been with me from the beginning as well. And then, of course, myself. I've been blessed to have Michelle and Dawn with me since 2010. So we're solid.
That's awesome. It's hard to form a group of people and keep it together because life gets in the way. I have to say, I didn't know that you played the trap set until I looked at your website and I went, oh my God, she plays the drums. She's not just a hand drummer, No,
the kid the kid's my love. I mean, I love hand drumming too, of course, but the kid is my first instrument. Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kicking it. You are kicking it. I have to back the slideshow up here just a bit because I want to bring this up. I love what you put on your logo.
Thank you.
Lay your hands on the altar of rhythm, the altar of life. Tell us about that.
Okay, that has a nice backstory. That is actually a lyric from a song that I worked with another girl, Alyssa Yeager. And Alyssa Yeager and I toured for about 3 years. And we went out as Telling Point. And we toured the pagan community as Telling Point for a while. And that is a lyric in one of our songs. Actually, of course, she's a songwriter. And so when I was doing Primal Rhythm, we actually had that on a t-shirt. And when I formed Primal Rhythm back in the day, I asked her, I said, hey, can I keep that? And she said, absolutely. So it is, I did not create that. A gal named Alyssa Yeager, it's a lyric from one of her songs that we did.
I love it. I love that line.
Yes.
Know,
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful sentiment. So that leads us into let's talk about the spirituality of drumming itself.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Deep. I know.
Yeah. It's an hour-long workshop that I do, and well, back in the day, that the first writings, the first scribings, cave scribings, go way back, I believe, 6,000 BC in Ethiopia. So that tells you that shaman, from the beginning of time, used rattles and shakers and drums as medicine tools and prayer tools. And then we can talk about, we could, an hour, like I said, it's an hour workshop, but we can talk about how the vibration and the sound waves of drums float through the energy and tap into our heart. And the reason why we love and resonate to the sound of the drum and the mother's beat, and we always relate to, the primal and the heartbeat, is because the Hertz frequency. So let's say if you're watching TV and you're watching a medical show, and they hook the heart monitor up and the EKG is going beep, 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 that wavelength, that's a Hertz frequency that's floating through the air. And now when we talk about music and sound engineering, when you're listening to your car stereo, or back in the day, your old Jensen speakers, and you had the EQ, when you turn up the bass, you're getting that bass frequency. That Hertz frequency is in that same window as our heartbeat biorhythms. That's why it connects. That's why the drums and the bass guitar and all those low notes in the keys and everything really connect and resonate with our heart rhythms. Again, it's we can go, into it's deep. It is so deep.
I'm totally relating to what you're saying, because I believe and I have experienced the same things, but in music in general, vibration, and of course, being a vocalist, I teach a whole workshop on using your voice, to as a magical tool, in fact. But
good.
It's all about
another thing is our heartbeat. Our heartbeat, when you get your blood pressure done, you're like, a healthy would be, 110, 120, 130 maybe. And when songwriters write songs, or songs that you listen to mainstream, they are in that same beats per minute. Okay, so like, a song is going to be at 100 beats per minute, 110 beats per minute, 120 beats per minute. Well, that's how fast our heart beats too. A healthy heart. So that's how it's all connected. That's how it all relates, and why we gravitate so much to the drums.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's
frequency, vibration in general. I mean, it's like all of it, from low to high. But when you get down into the lower tones, I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
It goes through you.
Yeah.
It's all about that entrainment, right?
Yes.
It's syncing up.
Yes.
That's why drum circles are so powerful, because even a beginning drummer can just do a simple beat and just feel the entrainment, where they just sync up with everybody else. And it's a magical experience when it happens.
Oh yeah, that energy is connecting and it just flows. And the most beautiful drum circle is having that universe, that energy comes through you, through your drum.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, into center. I mean, picture yourself at a drum circle. You have the energy flow through your crown, through you, through the drum into center, connecting, going up if there's a bonfire, going through the fire, and then back up, and this circle. And if everybody is open and allowing that energy to just flow, it is the most fabulous thing ever.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yes. If you haven't had a chance to go to a pagan festival and just sit at the side of a massive drum circle with a huge bonfire in the middle going, you are missing out.
Yes.
And if you have the gumption, get up and dance that bonfire. Let your body take you into that magical experience. It's truly life-changing.
Oh, yeah. And then, again, you brought up the question. The initial question was about the spirit. I mean, we can't forget about the spirit of the drum. The fact that the drum was a tree, and the head that we play on was a deer or a cow or elk. So yeah, there's a lot of life in those.
Absolutely.
Drums. Yeah.
Absolutely. So moving on.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I heard that you did a monthly show on IPR. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. Yeah, it's I call it drumming ceremony, and it's evolved. It started out being more of a prayer related, talking about life and prayer and so on and so forth, and it evolved into more of a kind of like a workshop. So what I do is I'll just talk some nonsense for about 5 minutes, to be honest with you. And then I pick an artist that I want to talk about, and I keep it mainstream. And the reason I keep it mainstream is because I don't want to pick pagan artists and feel like I'm favoring or critiquing. So I stay mainstream. And so I'll grab a mainstream, or like I'll do like a Stevie or a Led Zeppelin or somebody. I'll go pop. I kind of mix it all up. And what I do is I teach a djembe part to the song. So let's say if I pick like one of them is, I picked Stevie Nicks Stand Back. I like Stand Back. It's a cool song. And so it's like, okay, now if you want to play djembe to Stevie Nicks Stand Back, this is what I would play. And I teach the part. I was like, you can hear this part. You can create a djembe part, a drum part to this song, even though there's no djembe in this song. And so I kind of teach the rhythm and, boom, papa, boom, papa, and, the bass note, the tone note. I review where to find the notes on the drum, and then I'll play the part so people can hear it. And then I talk about the artist. I talk about Stevie Nicks. I talk about when the record was released. I talk about who produced the song. I talk about whatever I find might be interesting about that artist, where they came from, history, again, how old they are, whatever. And then I play the song, and I play the djembe part. I record the djembe part over the song so you can hear me playing that part. So that's the first part of the show. And then the second part of the show is about a 25-minute drum circle. And again, it's on Sunday afternoon. If you're housebound for some reason, snowing, raining, you just feel like drumming, no drum circle to go to, you can listen to the radio show and you can play along to a drum circle.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so that's what it's evolved into. I like it. It's fun. Seems like people like it a lot. I think I have every once in a while I'll ask, how's my audience doing? And they say it's doing pretty good. So
excellent.
Yeah, I keep going. Been doing it for like 3 years now.
Speaking of keeping going, you're
Yeah.
pretty physically fit, and I hear you like backpacking.
I do. Yeah, I do. I love going out in the woods. I love hiking. I love day camping, backpacking. Um, I've backpacked on the AT Appalachian Trail. I've backpacked on a lot of the national parks out in Acadia. I've backpacked down to the Grand Canyon. I went 5 days, no water. I had to cache water in the Grand Canyon. I did the North Rim, which is the tough one, and no tour. I mean, there was nobody. You didn't see anybody at the Grand Canyon. The North Rim is very, once you get on that Monument Point trailhead, you saw nobody for 5 days, and you hear nothing. You sit and listen, and it is so quiet. The sound of silence. I'm sitting the first night. I'm about a third of the way down. I'm sitting there and I hear, that's all I hear, but I don't see anything because sound travels it and there's nobody. And I look and here comes a condor. And you could hear, it was like, you know, how the speed of sound, you could hear the sound before he came. And I'm like, oh my, it was so breathtaking. And this condor just floats by. It was, I was like, oh,
what a blessing. What a majestical experience.
Oh, yeah, it was just beautiful.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Majestic experience.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love to backpack. I do.
That's so cool. Now, is that the deadliest trail that you had told me you had hiked?
Yes. And I did it on my 50th birthday. Well, not on birthday date, 50th birthday year. And Backpacker Magazine rates that as the deadliest trail, one of the deadliest trails. A lot of people go and don't come home. And yeah, but it was cool. It was cool stuff.
Well, we're glad you made it back.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I trained. I did. I wanted to do
an
this
important point to say. If you're going to do backpacking, you don't just go buy a bunch of stuff and look all pretty and then go out and do it. You have to train.
Yeah, please educate yourself.
Yeah,
please educate yourself. Have the proper gear. Yes.
So tell us about the artist development series.
Yes.
Fire Band Records.
Okay. Yeah, that is my record label. And artist development services. You know, I've been doing this a long time. I've been playing professionally since I was 19. And my first recording experience, I was like 16, 17 years old. And I was flown to Connecticut and I did my recording and I've been on TV and I've done a lot. And when I played full time, I played mainstream and I played in front of 20,000 people and name artists and everything. And so I thought what I can give back to the pagan community now that I'm a little older. I thought I've run into a lot of new artists and I thought, you know, the artist development services is me giving back to the community, the youngsters coming up that have questions, and I can answer what to expect, because when you're new, you don't know, you're not prepared.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know, you show up and you don't know. And so I can help with what to expect and what is expected. Mm-hmm. Because if you're going out and you want to do this and you're serious about it, you want to represent yourself well. So I can help you with, this is what you need to do. You prepare yourself for this, prepare yourself for that. Yes, do this. maybe not do that. And groom. It's a grooming thing. And help them get comfortable. As far as recording goes, I can record. I have recording equipment, recording gear. And again, I've been in and out of studios all my life. And I just upgraded my recording software, and I'm actually redoing my mix on the Red Album. And I'm also in the middle of, I just spent about 6 hours mixing the that 28 minute drum circle that I put on the Sunday show. I just threw that together. When I first put it together, I threw it together and I didn't take the time to really mix it well. I just sent it out there. And now that I have new software, I'm bringing it back in and I'm remixing it, and I'm going to put it on a record. So you can look for that. Yeah, you can look for that. So if you like what you hear on Sundays, you'll be able to get it. You'll be able to get it. You'll be able to download it or get a physical copy. There's a couple other songs that I put out that now that I have newer software, I'm remixing and mastering too. So, but yeah, back to the artist development. If there's somebody out there that, and you don't even have to be a youngster, if you need some help, give me a holler. I'd love to share what I know.
Awesome. And we'll get your contact information here in a minute at the end of this segment. So is this what you're working on now, is remixing stuff?
Yes. Yeah. I want to put that 28-minute thing on a record. I'm remixing and going to remaster the Red Album. I did it real quick, and I really wasn't happy with the software that I was using, but it's what I had at that moment. I've upgraded my software, so I'm going to redo that. And there's another one that I put out, another single that I put out about 2 years ago that I want to pull and remix and remaster that, and I'm going to put it all on a record. So probably the end of summer, I'll have that all on one record.
Well, we look forward to that for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You might have to come back when you get it released.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, so a little bit of fun stuff. Do you have any good stories from when you were at pagan festivals?
I got to tell you, most of my good stories are when I was younger, touring full time. Those are my juicy stories, because when I signed an exclusive deal when I was 19. So you can imagine being 19 and through your 20s, your decades of your 20s, touring full time.
Amazing.
I got a lot of good ones. I didn't really enter the pagan scene until later in life as an adult, and kind of calmed down since then. So I don't have any juicy stories for pagan's time, but if you want to hear some.
Well, I'm going to ask you about one in a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Everybody that's viewing, listen up, because Sue has donated not one, but 2 physical CDs to go with the other prizes for the Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of this show. Thank you so much, Sue, for doing that. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much for donating physical CDs.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about both of these albums? I think you already mentioned how they came about.
Yeah, this one was 2005. This is the one that Sundance Film Festival picked up a couple tracks on there. It's the first 3 tracks are call and respond. So if you've ever taken a drum workshop, the drummer instructor will say, okay, it's a hearing. It's for hearing training. It's like bum, ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, bum. So you mimic what you hear. And each track gets a little harder. Each track gets faster and faster. So those are the first 3 tracks. Then the last 6 tracks simulate a drum circle. You'll hear one djembe come in, boom, ba ba boom, ba ba boom, ba ba boom, ba ba boom. So you can you could follow that rhythm, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba. And then a second drum will come in, and you'll be able to hear it because I have it layered. First drum will go boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba, boom. Second drum will be ba, 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 ba. So you can depict certain drum rhythms if you want to follow along, or you can just wing it and just jam on top of it. So that
Sweet.
is what that one's all about.
Sweet.
This one is a little more advanced. This one I incorporated the dunes, and the dunes are the bigger drums that are in the back of it. If you go to a larger, or if you go to festival where they have the big African dunes and the guys boom ba boom boom ba thing. So this one has dunes on it, and it's a short EP. Yeah, it's a short EP, and actually Alyssa Yeager, the gal that wrote the lyric to my logo, I have her doing a meditative, kind of like a journey on one of the songs on this one.
Cool.
As well, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where do people go if they're interested in getting their own copies of these CDs and learning more about your other offerings?
Yeah, you can jump primalrhythm.net. Thank you. You can get on the website, and I have links on that website. I also have a merch link. And I sell djembes. So I do sell all shapes and sizes of djembes, and they are African. I have Ivory Coast, I have Ghana, I have Senegal drums. I have really cool cases, mud cloth cases, and kente cloth cases from Africa. My very, very good friend Ginger Ackley makes djembe straps for me. So I have really nice kente cloth there, and I purchased the cloths from Africa, and kente cloth straps and shea butter and necklaces and all kind of stuff.
I still have to get my djembe strap from you.
Yeah.
Remember I mentioned I needed one of those?
You did, yes.
I've been needing one of those for decades. I always sit on the drum and play it like that, straddling the drum, or hold it sideways like this. But I'm getting too old for all that acrobats. So I need to just strap that sucker on.
Yeah, I started having straps because you can't find them. They're hard to find. They are really hard to find somebody that is selling the straps. And I thought, I asked Ginger, I said, because Ginger's pretty good seamstress, and she makes lovely cloaks, by the way. I'm gonna pitch that to her. She makes lovely cloaks. And I said, hey, would you be interested in making straps for me? So she makes my straps for me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, what's this story I hear about a fan asking for your underwear?
Yeah. That was during Sage. That is a Sage story. Yeah.
So what happened? Did you give them to her?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Rock and roll, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know how much time we have, but I have some pretty crazy stories. I had a girl when I was touring full time. I was home on a break, and we didn't get breaks often. We toured a lot. I was home for Yule and Easter. That was about it. It was full time. It was Monday through Saturday we were on the road. I lived out of a suitcase in a hotel. Everything, big rock and roll stories. That's what we did. And anyway, I was home in Cleveland, and my knock on the door, and I go to the door, and there's a girl standing on my porch, and I'm like, who are you? And she had a guitar in her hand, and she's like, hey, what's up? All this stuff. And she says, yeah, I thought I could hang out with you guys and be in your band. And I'm like, I did not know who this girl was. She was from Canada. We had played in St. Catharines and I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no idea, but she ended up on my porch thinking that she was going to be in the band. And I felt bad, but it's like, dude, man, it's like, I don't
That's
know.
not the way things work.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
But
So that,
yeah, giving your underwear is that. Now that's dedication to your fan base right there.
I like, whatever, man, it's like, hey.
All right, let's bring Draken back on. What
All right.
what are the viewers having to say? Do they have any comments or questions for Sue? Oh, I got to click the button. Duh.
Sandra,
I'm
is
like
that-
talking to you like you're already in here. Sorry.
I know. I'm like, and I'm just talking back like I actually exist.
I saw your lips moving.
Yeah, this is not my like forte. So, do you tune your own djembes, or do you have someone else do it?
I do it. Yes, I do it. I do tune them, and I'm pretty precise about it, because with the ensemble, with the band, you want to have a solo higher pitch. You want to have that whap, 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 and you want to have all the layers, working together. And then you want your second djembe, you want it to be like more of a rhythm. So you think of lead guitar, rhythm guitar. So I have the solo djembe, and then I have my rhythm, and then I have another one, and then we have the dunes, and we have 3 sets of dunes on stage, which I'm really excited about. So, and all 3, so right there is 9 drums. If you see Primal Rhythm, we have about 15 drums on stage, maybe more. But so we have 3 sets of dunes, and you want them to complement each other because of how because it's if you don't know, a lot of people think Primal Rhythm is going to be a jam band drum circle on stage, and it's not. It's more of a stomp. It's, if you know what stomp is, it's more there. It's written. I have written the parts, and I have dictated.
You can
the parts.
tell. You can tell.
And this is this. This is that. This is that. And so you want everything to work together. So to answer your question, I tune my drums. Yes. Yeah.
Then I have my own question because I'm an animal lover. There was a picture, and it felt like there was something small and furry in your hand.
That's my girl. That's Randy. Actually, both dogs are in the picture, but you can't see Reenie. Reenie is tucked on the ground behind the fire. You can see her 2 eyes popping out, but she's sitting in between Donnie and Annie because Dawn was petting her. She's back there. And then this is Randy on my lap. Yeah, my 2 girls. I'm definitely a dog person. Hi, how are you, Danielle?
I am too. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your life path with us, Sue.
Sure.
And all of the magic that you do on the drums. But we're not done with you yet. We'll be bringing you back on at the end of the show for some shenanigans.
Okay. If I'd like to add real quick before I stop talking, because I do talk a lot. But anybody out there, if you're interested in talking drums and have questions, feel free to hit me up. The only thing I ask is if you do hit me up, message me on Facebook or something like that. Let me know that it's a drum question or something like that. Otherwise, because of the way the world is, unfortunately, I want to answer your question. So I need to know that, hey, I got a question.
I'm a real person. I'm not a bot and a spammer, but I have a drum question.
Yes. Yeah. Introduce yourself and, put a header on there that I know that, you want to talk drums.
Cool,
I'd love to help you out.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Don't go away. You'll be back.
All right.
And to our viewers, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our monthly show. And be a helper and tell your friends. It's time to talk about our sponsorships. This show would not be possible without our sponsors. We are always actively looking for pagan-minded businesses and services that would be interested in sponsoring future shows. If this sounds like you, head over to alexianmusic.com/sponsor for more information. And you can have your logo right down there next month, just like Salem Witch Debra Lori.com's, let me hit the right button, website. Debra makes many different magical items to help you attain your wishes and goals. She started making her magical wares in response to her psychic clients needing follow-up and direction to help them get started on the right path forward. And in some cases, they themselves even learn to start doing their own divinatory work. It always helps to have a little aid in your magical work. Think of these items like adding that extra special spice to a bundled group of ingredients from the grocery store to make a meal for your loved ones. A little extra special. So check out Debra's handmade offerings, like her soy wax candles infused with magically chosen essential oils for healing, love, and prosperity and protection. Now, I have never seen this before, and I think this is so unique. Magical candles for your pets with intentions like protection from the vet, abundance of treats, healing my 9 lives, and love and worship me now. I had a cat like that. You must love and worship me now. No, now. No, now. No, now. She was always on my lap kneading. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, isn't that cool, Draken?
Yeah. I'm thinking I've got 4 dogs, and I feeling like they would love these.
If you got to make one for orchids, Debra. I have orchids now instead of cats. And of course, she also makes incenses with specific intentions as well, and magical witch balls. Look how beautiful those are.
Well, yeah.
But here's what takes the cake. She also takes great care in crafting these exquisite scrying mirrors, each thoughtfully aligned and charged under the glow of a specific full moon, each moon throughout the year. These mirrors are not only breathtakingly beautiful, but also possess a unique magical essence, all unto their own. And you can grab your own scrying mirror and a couple of pet magical candles now before they are sold out at salemwitchdebralori.com. But here's the best part. Are you ready for this, guys? She's donating one of her black magic mirrors. One of her scrying mirrors. Debra has donated a dressed scrying mirror for the Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of the show. So again, look, you don't want to miss out on rolling for a chance to win. There's all of these goodies, and there's still more to come. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So then we also have paganmusic.com. You may be familiar with the fact that paganmusic.com belongs to Victor and I. We've supported Pagan Music online since '93, and then we formed Earthtone Studios and took it online in '97 at paganmusic.com. And now, over 30 years later, we're liquidating our stock. We've held some titles in our stock for so long that they're out of print and have become collector's items. So I don't know if I told you, Draken, but we had a tarot deck set in our stock. And we sold it for a good price, and I looked it up. It was worth over $2,000.
Oh, ouch.
We did not sell it for $2,000. So we didn't, it was out of print. So it's crazy. We have things that have been in our stock for 30 years, and they have become literally collector's items. We also have a shit ton of bumper stickers, all at $1.50 each. All, of course, with the pagan tongue-in-cheek saying. So you might want to peruse through those as well. Our goal after liquidating the store is to turn it into an informational hub for pagan music. We can continue supporting the artists this way, but we got to liquidate that stock so we can get rid of the store part and change it into something completely new and different. And today, paganmusic.com is happy to donate a $25 cart checkout coupon for the giveaway at the end of the show. We trust that it will bring you a lot of happy pagan shopping joy, whoever wins.
Which is not me, which is one thing that I'm a little bitter about.
I know. Like this show, I want to roll.
Right?
I want to roll, but I can't. That wouldn't be right. So the last sponsor, of course, is myself for today's show as a pagan recording artist. You can go to alexianmusic.com and you'll find all things Alexian, including my pagan music recordings, online courses and trainings, and my own private pagan community, the Coven of Cool Cats, where we do bonfire bardic circles. Think of it as pagan open mic night. We share magic spells and recipes and rituals with each other through our ever-growing community Book of Shadows. I actually draw a tarot card of the day every day and do a short little video recording that is posted in the community every day. We walk sometimes together spontaneously on camera. We're actually walking while we're talking to each other on the phone, discussing different spiritual topics, which makes the exercising go so much faster. There's also the monthly Pentacle Party, songwriting technique classes, lyric discussions, book swaps, meditations, NFT collector items. The list goes on and on. There's a lot going on. I can hardly keep up with it, but join in on the fun and learn in the process. And today I'm thrilled to contribute a complimentary Rooted Kitten ongoing membership to the Coven of Cool Cats community in the giveaway in this show. That's a $4 a month value. Yeah, it only costs like $4 to join the community, but you get in for free if you win the drawing today. All three of our sponsors help pay for today's show, the equipment, the streaming services, the staff. There's a lot that goes into this show, guys, in prep.
Yeah.
Not to mention just the streaming software is a lot of money. So support our sponsors like they have helped support the show, right?
Yes.
All right. And of course, if your business would be interested in becoming a sponsor, just head over to alexianmusic.com/sponsor. We'd love to have you. You just fill out a little form. It's all explained on that one webpage. All right, let's get back to the show because I got a very cool guest next.
Hold on to your seat for magical moments.
Up, do up, bibbidi do up.
Today, I'm thrilled to have with us Debra Lori, who is a blessed psychic. She has insight and she's a tarot master. With her profound connection to unseen, Debra has guided countless souls through her readings, unlocking mysteries and shedding light on the paths untaken. Her expertise isn't just a talent, it's a calling. Prepared to be inspired, enlightened, and perhaps even transformed. Everyone, please welcome Debra Lori.
Hi. How are you? How are you? Hey, everybody. How are you all?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay.
So just so people understand, and make the connection, you are the same person that is our sponsor who makes those amazing scrying mirrors and magical items.
Absolutely. The familiarity, it's a thing. It's me. It's all me.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first when we started up setting all this stuff up. I was like, which website goes with what?
Overachiever.
I was confused. But so you have your psychic tarot reading business, and then you also make magical wares, like I said, that helps your clients as a psychic get on the right path and go forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Deborah, how long have you possessed psychic abilities?
Started seeing spirit when I was 6. I saw my great grandmother and knew her, remembered her when she was living. So when I saw her behind me, it was a trip, to say the least. Full body apparition.
Wow, full body.
Full body. Yeah. Go big or go home. It's my family.
And if I might ask, if you don't mind me asking,
Of course.
was she had already passed from way before, or did she just pass when you saw her?
If memory serves correct, I think she had been gone maybe a year. Maybe.
Okay. The reason I
Yeah.
ask is when I only knew one of my grandparents, okay? My grandmother on my mother's side, which is where my whole psychic ability comes from. But I remember I was little and I went to bed with my sister, in the bed with her, because my mom was at the hospital with her mother, who was on her deathbed. My father went to sleep, he was in the house with us, but in his bedroom. And in the middle of the night, I remember waking up and there was a bright light at the foot of the bed. It was a ball, okay? A ball of light. And I experienced it, and that would have been 76. So I was like 10. I was 10 years old. I experienced it as a bright ball of light. And it moved. I mean, it was like hovering. It was an orb, if you will, but big. It was like the size of a soccer ball, and it was moving around in the room. And then it came to the edge of the bed and just kind of hovered there for a while. My sister sat straight up in bed. She's 7 years older than me, so she would have been 17. And she looked straight at it, and it was like she was having a conversation, And I just remember like kind of being freaked out and covering my head up with the covers and trying to hide because I didn't know how to process it at 10 years old. And then I fell asleep. And then the next morning, we got the news that grandma had passed away. Well, she did speak to my sister and she gave a message for my mom. My mom came home from the hospital and was completely hysterical. She was the baby of 12. She was completely hysterical. And my sister told her what happened, that grandma had come. And I'm like, I saw it too, and then she just told her that everything was okay and that she was at peace and happy. And my mother just immediately calmed down. It's exactly what she needed to hear, And so I really, truly believe that my grandmother came and saw us and passed a message on through my sister for my mom. So that's why I asked.
I love that. So I don't know if it's my grandmother or my grandmother, but that was my great grandmother. My grandmother was a whole other cool story as well, but it was my great grandmother that I saw.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into stories here. We got some stories.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, though, can you share with us your personal journey that guided you towards discovering paganism specifically?
Well, born and raised in Salem, Mass. And just because you're born there doesn't mean you're automatically a witch, but already having the gift of mediumship, not knowing what it was. Because, 6 years old, you don't go, oh, I'm a medium. It just doesn't click. I've always had things happen, the intuition, the knowing, and I needed to find a way to channel my mediumship so that I was in control of it, but it wasn't in control of me. And I came across somebody that I knew who had a coven, and I studied, and I ended up realizing there was so many more layers that fit, that were me, magically. So the magic actually drew me into where I was supposed to be, because nothing is a coincidence, nothing. And I found home, and I found me, and I found my anchor, because my belief system is I don't care what higher power you believe in, you have to have that anchor. And I didn't. And I just kind of felt like I was lost. And when I found paganism, I was home.
A lot of people describe finding paganism and Wicca or witchcraft as coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to share the feeling, and this kind of like, if you know, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand what you mean. It is a feeling, it's a click. And it's kind of like, oh, well, this is kind of like what I always believed, but I didn't know there was a name for it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, hi, Mom. Nice to see you on here. Had a shout out to my mom. Yeah.
Oh, I missed the comment.
No, she just said, hi, everyone. It's my mom, Droma.
Oh, awesome. Hi, Mom. Tell us the story about your friend's brother-in-law.
So I worked for a big box company, and my muggle job was pharmacy technician, or as I like to call it, legal drug dealer. It sounds so much better. And I had a friend, and her brother-in-law went missing. It was all over the news. And I am not that person that will interject myself into a situation. I'm not an ambulance chaser or a hearse chaser, but I have read for most of the people that were there, and they knew who I was and what I did. And she finally came up to me and she asked me if I had any information, if I felt anything. And the minute she asked me, it was if somebody just came running up behind me and slammed into my body. And I felt cold and clammy and wet, soggy, just bloated down with water. And I looked at her and I said, he's not here anymore. He was showing me through his eyes what happened to him, where he ended up, and everything that I had told her. She said to me, yeah, I didn't want to tell you, but I spoke to another medium. And I always find it funny when people say that, because it's like they're cheating on you. And I'm like, you can talk to as many as you want. Same with tarot readers. You can talk to as many as you want. But she said, you not only validated what the first medium told me, you gave more information. And I kept getting the number 23, and it would not go away. 23, 23, 23. And he showed me a buoy, and I called my friend and I asked her if there was a 23 on a buoy where they lived. They live in Maine. And she said, well, there's a 26. And she let the police know. They went out with cadaver dogs on the boat and they looked, and there was actually blood on the buoy, but there was no body. And I kept getting the 23, and I used my pendulum and a map, and I sat down with the family, and I found a location that I saw him coming to. He was stuck on something underwater. He was tangled, which is why he didn't come up. The minute I sat down with his wife, I got the nickname that he called her. He had 2 little kids, and he did not want those children to think that he just abandoned them. And he would not leave me until he was found. One night, they wanted to come back, see if I had any more information. They were a little bit late, and when they came in, they were sobbing. They found him. They could only identify him by his dental records. It was in the window of where I saw with the pendulum, and it was 23 days after he went missing. And that was one of the most profound, I'm getting goosebumps even saying it, the most profound experiences, because he literally stayed with me for the 23 days and let me see through his eyes exactly what happened. That was probably the biggest moment that made me decide to leave my muggle life and dive into this full time. Just be a witch 24/7.
Accept your gifts. Yeah. And let them out publicly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So what does it feel like to perceive, the beyond, from your perspective? I know what I feel, but what do you feel, that alternate dimension across the veil, if you will?
So I've actually experienced being on the other side. I did not die. It was not an NDE. My father passed away March 3rd, 2003, 03. And I was house sitting, and this is going to sound so cliche. I know it is. I was house sitting with my stepmother's dog, and I had a fire going, waiting for it to go out. Didn't want to burn the house down. And I was sitting on his side of the love seat, and all of a sudden the dog woke up, started yelping and looking up at the ceiling and going crazy. And I stood up to see what was going on in case there was somebody walking around outside. And I felt a definitive line between hot and cold. And the minute I stood up, it was as if somebody snapped their fingers and it was complete silence. Like when the power goes out, you don't hear anything. There's no hum, nothing. And everything was technicolor. Like I was looking at grass everywhere and beautiful tree. And it was a bright day, like I want to say bright day, perfectly blue sky, but there was no sun. It wasn't like it was beating down on you. And the temperature was absolutely perfect. And all I felt was complete peace. All my burden, all my physical pain, gone. It was just as if you went, ah, and felt complete and utter love and protection and just calm. And I heard my father say to me, you can't stay. I wanted you to see, but you can't stay. And I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I kind of sat back down on the love seat. And again, like a switch, back to normal. And I know now that he wanted me to experience the other side so that I could help be a stronger bridge for those either going to cross or that have crossed, and for families to know what was on the other side, to give them that comfort and peace, to understand better where their loved one is. Not was, but is.
Right. Is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you in our preliminary meeting that I had an experience with the light. And I'm going to tell this story very quickly. But I had pre-initiatory dreams for all three of my degrees in Wicca. At the first degree, long story short, the mother came to me. At second degree, the crone came to me. So at third degree, I was expecting the maiden, but instead of getting the maiden, I got the light, the source, the all. And it literally was the light, the source, the center, the all. And everything is in there, and everything is okay. And it always sounds hokey when you talk about it, but the best words that I've come up with is it's like warm water washing over your soul. It's just utter perfect peace. And in that moment, I did not want to return to my life. I wanted to go into the light, which is very scary because I love my life. I love my husband. I love everything about what's going on right now and this time. But in that moment, none of it mattered.
Yeah, that feeling is just like, whoa.
None of it mattered because we're all one anyway. We're always going to be together. That's the point. It's all one thing, and we're always going to be together. We're just at different addresses, right? But we're all together, okay? And but the light was very real to me, and then the voice said, you know, it's hokey. It's hokey to even say it. The voice said, it's not your time. It's time to go back. Take the light with you and help others find the light within inside themselves. And I was falling. Yeah. So, and then whoop, right back into my dream, and whoop, right awake I became. And I was like, WTF. Like, what the hell just happened? Right.
Yep. So, I literally, when that happened to me, I ran upstairs and woke my grandmother up, and I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And she laughed and she goes, I'm not surprised at your father. And yeah, it was just absolutely mind blowing.
There it is. Now, I have never done any automatic handwriting, automatic writing. So tell us a little bit about that. I'm curious. How does that work?
First of all, the hardest part is to get out of your own head. And that's why people can't do it, because we are our own worst enemy. We overthink it, or we're thinking it. You have to learn to separate yourself from your mind, shut yourself off, and allow spirit to take over. And when you're able to do that, you get messages. You could ask questions and they'll answer, or they will just tell you things that you may need to know or hear. And I have found in doing this, when I'm teaching classes, and it's really cool when you have a group of people, because this person may get a message for that one, and now it's all interactive, and it's like, oh my God, and it's so cool. But when you're doing it for yourself, it's very personal. I actually, for the first time recently, wrote a letter, which I'd never done before. Usually it's like sentences or words, validation. This was a letter, and it was my father and my grandmother. And it was like they were having a conversation. This is hi, it's me, Dad, it's me. And it was just back and forth. And they answered specific questions that I was asking. When I was done, I was in a channeling class. When I was done and she brought us back, I'm sitting there sobbing. Like, I had no memory of writing any of this. Like, Elvis left the building, and I was just downloading, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And it was amazing. When I'm doing it as a class, when I'm teaching people how to do it, the messages that come through when I'm writing them for somebody are just, they can't believe that I've received the information, whether it's a specific word or, describing an outfit that somebody had on, or something they needed to hear. It's hard, but you have to meditate. You have to practice, because it is not easy to shut your brain off. Especially me, between my ADHD and my OCD, I'm like, yep, squirrel. So yeah, it's really, really hard to do that. When you are able to master that part and ask a question, even if you're just sitting quietly at home on a rainy day or whatever, take a notebook and a pen or whatever, and just start doing like little circles, little doodles, and see, as you're doing them without even realizing it, you may be writing something. Go back and look. You may see a word in there or a picture. I had ended up doing the infinity sign, drew an ankh one time, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. You will get messages, but you have to learn to shut your brain off first. And that's the hardest part.
Automatic handwriting just seems so foreign to me for some reason. I don't know why. I've just never tried. But when I get impressions, it's a feeling. I get feelings more than anything. Like, I just know. Okay. And then every once in a while, which is very rare, but I think it's because I'm a musician, I have clairaudient experience where I actually hear voices, like, which really freaked me out the first time it happened, because you think you're crazy.
Finding a therapist, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Voices.
But it started happening when I was doing tarot readings, which I do, and I would hear just one or two words, and I don't know what the hell it means, but I would say it out loud, and the client knows exactly what it means, right? And sometimes they freak out and start crying and everything, and they have to explain to me what that means, because I'm just channeling it through, But again, the clairaudient thing is very far and few between, but usually it comes to me as a feeling, just a knowing.
Right. So when I'm doing tarot readings, I leave myself open as a medium, because sometimes spirit will use the cards. When I'm doing mediumships, I don't use cards. I just let it flow, whatever comes through me.
Sure.
I get all the senses. I get the feels. I get all of it. A lot of times when I'm doing the cards, I'll just say something. I'm not even reading what the actual meaning is of the card if you looked it up in the book. I'm just downloading and giving them messages that I don't even, and I know when it's happening because I start speaking like an auctioneer. It gets faster and faster because I'm just like, blah, 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 and they're sitting there like windblown, and I don't even know where it came from. And they're like, I can't believe you just said that. I was talking to my friend about that in the car on the way over here. I'm like, imagine that. It just goes.
I get that.
Yeah. I had one intense tarot reading one time. Young man wanted to know if he was doing the right thing, becoming a firefighter for New York City, to honor the paramedic that tried to save his uncle, or the firefighter rather, that tried to save his uncle who was in the towers. His uncle was a construction worker, foreman, happened to be there for a meeting. And unfortunately, 9/11 happened. I used the Robin Wood deck, and the wands look like rebar to me. I had the tower. And if you look at the tower, you see, and you can never unsee it once you see it, the man upside down falling. And there was 7 cards that I pulled that was literally his uncle telling the story that he needed to take this test. He needed to do it. And it was so strong. Like, I threw the cards down and we looked at each other and I said, I don't even need to say anything. Like, this just tells you it all. And he just sat there slack-jawed, and the two of us were like, oh my God. It was one of the most intense tarot readings that I've done. And spirit will come through and do that. Sometimes they need you to hear. They're like, hello, you're not paying attention to the signs. Let me do this. But I don't use cards when I do mediumship. But I will keep myself open as a medium when I do cards, because you never know what's going to come through.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different approach. Absolutely. I'm a tarot card person, feelings, and I am a scryer. I often tell a joke, but it's actually a true story. I did a very successful reading and grated Parmesan cheese on a black plate in the middle of Olive Garden.
Okay. Hey,
random patterns, right? Random patterns.
Yep.
It's all I need is just patterns, and then I just focus in, and visuals come out at me, just flying. You know,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm a blonde. Doesn't take too much to make sense out.
The first time I did mirror scrying, well, it wasn't actually the first time, but I was in a group reading, and the person that was hosting it was like, do you want a mirror? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So the question I asked was, am I doing right as a medium? Am I honoring the dead? Am I doing the right thing? And I looked in the mirror and I saw Anubis. I almost flung that like a frisbee, because I was not expecting to see the god of the underworld staring back at me. But considering that he is who he is, and the question that I asked, I was like, okay, that was the answer. That didn't need to be so blunt, but you know, that's my life. So here we go. It was insane.
When 9/11 happened, we're all watching on television, right? And the firemen are going into the building, and I'm like freaking out, yelling at the TV, don't go in there, the tower's going to collapse. I mean, I just knew it was going to happen. And in that moment, the voice came to me, that clairaudient thing, you know, it's okay, I'm going to catch them. That's basically the gist of what happened. The feeling of it's going to collapse, it's okay, I'm here to catch them as they fall, blah, 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 blah. Well, that became a song. It took me a couple years to write and release it, because it was, you know, that whole feeling that went across not only the US, but across the world, and mourning of what had happened. It was just this heavy emotion. And I kept having dreams, and basically the god of the underworld, Hades, Anubis, the horned one, whoever you want to call him, he was poking me to write this song. And the song is Death's Lullaby. And it is all about the angel of death, or the lord of the underworld, coming to take his children back home. And it's from his perspective. That's the way the song is written. I do a lot of songwriting in my sleep. So I was getting messages in my sleep for that one, but he would not leave it alone until I wrote the song and released it. So that's been, you know, out for quite a while, but it took years. It took years for me to release it, because it was so heavy. And if anybody knows me, I'm not heavy. It's not who I am, you know, but it needed to come through and get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you brought up 9/11, so I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned that you do like group workshops and group readings where there's multiple people in the room, and you had
Mhm.
mentioned before about an Italian grandmother coming through.
Oh my God. Yes. So this was October when the veil is at its thinnest. And I had almost a packed room. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this little old lady. Now I'm 4'11. So she was shorter than me. That's saying a lot. She had black dress, black orthopedic shoes, white hair, and a rolling pin. And she's shaking it. And she was actually speaking Italian, and I do not speak any other language than English. And I'm saying, Amanda, can you please say it so I can understand you? Because she was pretty upset. And she had said, don't cut corners on my gravy. And it was specifically gravy. And I was not messing with that. And I gave the message, and this woman burst out laughing. And she raised her hand and she said, you just described my Nana to a T. And I made her gravy last night. And yes, I did do something I shouldn't. I said, well, that's a domestic issue between the two of you. I'm going to step out and y'all can talk about that. But I would advise in the future keeping it exactly as it is, because she's not happy. And she laughed and the room burst out laughing. But they watch, they're there, and they will let you know if they are not pleased. And do not mess with the recipe.
Family traditions are family traditions, and they should be honored. And the ancestors are watching.
Oh, yeah. And
they
God
are watching.
help you. Yep, absolutely. But it was funny. And then I had another woman, and I kept hearing say Wonder Bread. So now, as a medium, you have a lot of different conversations at the same time. So it's the one you're saying to the people, it's the one you're saying with spirit, and then it's the one you're kind of saying with yourself sometimes. And I'm saying to the spirit, I'm not going to say Wonder Bread. They're going to think I'm whacked. And I kept getting, say Wonder Bread, say Wonder Bread. So finally I turned, it was a mother and a daughter. I said, what is the significance of Wonder Bread? That's all I keep hearing. And the mother started sobbing, and the daughter said, my grandmother passed recently, and the last group thing we did together when she was healthy was a tour of the Wonder Bread factory. I'm like, had I not trusted or shut myself off, I would not have given them that validating point that they needed to hear. If I thought about it and tried to translate it, it would have been misconstrued, because they're not my messages.
Yeah.
They're not our messages. We are just the voice box. Don't make sense of it.
That's it.
Do not try to make sense of it, because it will lose itself in translation and people will not get what they needed to hear.
Yeah. Don't translate. Don't edit. That's what I was alluding to before when I said, I don't know what the hell this means, but your job when you're reading other people or reading for other people is just to say it. You're literally just a speaker, and you just have to let them interpret what it means, because to you, it sounds like hogwash,
Yeah.
And
I kind of feel like I'm on a telephone, like I'm hearing them and I'm speaking to them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not significant to us. It doesn't make even sense to us. But when you say it out loud, it means something to them, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes they don't realize it means something to them yet. I once did my niece is going to kill me. I once did a tarot reading for my niece, and she was like sad because she was, lonely, and she had not met Mr. Right yet. And I did a reading for her, and all that kept popping out was frog. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? Frog. And I'm like, yeah, frog. You'll know him when you see the frog. That's all I can tell you. I don't know what the hell it means. Well, when she met her now husband, who she has 2 children with, he was wearing a t-shirt with a frog on it.
Oh, I love it.
Right on his chest.
I love it. Love it.
So you don't know. You don't know what it means. You just have to say it.
Exactly.
That's a true
and the
story.
one thing I tell people is, don't just think of a live frog. It could be a t-shirt. Somebody could walk by with a baseball hat, but they fixate on one thing and they miss the sign that they were supposed to get. You have to be more open-minded
Mhm.
to receive the messages
Mhm.
and pay attention. If you're thinking about something or somebody and then you see the sign, think back to what you were doing. What were you asking them? What were you feeling? Because that validation is going to help with whatever it was that they were thinking about or feeling, to give them that peace and that comfort.
That's right. That's right. Well, Debra is donating a free half-hour tarot reading to the giveaway as well. Look at all these incredible prizes we have. And we're getting close to that drawing. I hope you're ready. Thank you so much, Debra, for being
Thank you.
here.
I appreciate you.
So many good things.
I appreciate you.
So
Danielle had asked a quick question. I don't know if you want me to answer that real quick.
We're going to get to the questions in a second.
Okay.
So what project did you just finish?
I just finished making that batch of mirrors that you had put up on the site. That was my last.
And you said something about witch balls. You were working on witch balls too.
I'm working on witch balls, and I've got another batch of candles that I'm going to start up this week. I just keep rotating. It just always there's something brewing in my kitchen at all times.
As it should be. And you show me a witch with a clean altar, and I'll show you a witch that doesn't practice.
Absolutely.
Copyright,
Absolutely.
Lord Alexian.
Love it. Love it.
I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that for years. Show me a witch with a clean altar. I'll show you a witch that doesn't practice. Because it's so true. You're always busy, and there's crap everywhere. Herbs and oils and vessels and glassware and niche necks and
you find things you're like,
wax and We actually have
always
a
an
huge
experience.
container in the Coven temple room that is huge, and it's full of candle wax scraps. And every so many years, we melt them down and make this one big, huge Coven pillar candle that we light.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I love
We
that.
recycle the wax strippings and everything too.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Anybody would like to book a psychic reading or tarot card reading with Debra for yourself, they can go to Debra Lori. Let me get the right button. To DebraLori.com. And that's her website. And you can get in contact with her there and make it happen. I'm sure she'd love to hear from you.
I would love that. I could throw cards all day. It's like, I just love tarot.
Yes. And also, everyone listening, please take note that this is a different website from her Magical Wares website. So there's SalemWitchDebraLori.com, and then there's just DebraLori.com for the psychic readings. I wanted to make that distinction.
Thank you.
It's awesome. So, Draken, comments and questions.
We do. I've got an excellent question. What type borders/protections do you keep up to separate spirit from crashing into your mundane life whenever they want to?
So I picture myself in an old Humphrey Bogart movie where he was a detective and he has the old office with the blinds, and it's all black and white when I see it. When I go in, I unlock the door and I turn the light on and I put the blinds up. You're all welcome to come in. When I am done for the day, the blinds go down, the lights go off, and I shut the door. And I picture myself covered in this white light, egg-like thing, but it can move with me, so I'm not like all stuck, but covered in Teflon. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't want anything sticking or trying to penetrate, and they just stay away. Once in a very blue moon, something super important might come through, but Humphrey Bogart room, lock the door when I leave, shut the light, we're done.
I know it sounds visual.
Weird. Yeah. I'm all about analogies and visual. It's how my crazy brain works.
Yeah.
Now, you said you had seen a question that you'd like to answer, Debra?
There was Danielle's I saw pop up.
Oh, that was that one. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Draken.
So, and we have another one, and I'm not sure I'm getting this right. It says how to explain premonitions. Does that make sense to you?
How do you basically?
So
how do
Janet,
you,
I'm going to answer the way I think you mean, but if not, let me know and I'll go deeper. So for me, when I get a premonition, it's a very strong feeling in my gut and this like itching, burning, like something's going to happen. Anticipation would be a good word to use for it, but I can feel it and it won't go away. I know, like you were saying, I know. And it's super strong. That's how I can differentiate between my thinking and a premonition, because the feeling is so intense. Is that what you were asking, Janet? Make sure I got it right.
it might have been a typo instead of so. It might have been do for do.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Chris.
Excellent.
It just happens. Things just pop into my head all the time. It's never empty. There's always something roaming around in there. And all the voices get along. It's great.
Anything else?
I think that's what we got for questions.
Okay. Well, I am going to go ahead then and move along and bring Sue back in. Welcome back, Sue. Yeah. We're going to have a little fun.
All right.
It's time for rapid fire questions.
Oh, boy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Pressure.
So this is the time when I have my guests. They have 1 minute. You have 1 minute. I'm going to just tell you. You have 1 minute to answer 3 questions, about 20 seconds each. Jot down your answers, and then after the clock runs out, I will ask you about your answers, and you'll have time to explain. Okay?
All right.
So let me bring the clock up on the screen. Let me hit the right buttons. Add to stage. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be and how would you use it? If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be and how would you use it? Question 2. What's the most memorable dream you've ever had? What's the most memorable dream you've ever had? And last question, what's the most surprising fact that people would not guess about you? What's the most surprising fact that people would not guess about you? In 3, 2, 1, time's up. Okay, Sue.
Yes.
If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be and how would you use it?
Well, I'm really into healing. So if I could have the superpower and move forward with that power, I would love to be more in depth on healing, because I feel as the drumming and the shaman drums and stuff, I'm already on that path. I was told by my mentor that I am shaman with the drums. And so if I could be a superhuman, I'd like to develop and extend that out.
Excellent answer. Debra, if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be and how would you use it?
I would be a court jester, as crazy as that sounds, because words are power, but humor is something that we need. We need to lighten things up a bit. And
Especially
maybe if
right
people
now.
laughed more, they wouldn't be so angry all the time. And maybe, just maybe, we'd have a shot of things just being less volatile in the world if people just laughed more. I know that sounds corny, but that's me.
No, I love it. I love it. All right, back to Sue. What's the most memorable dream you've ever had?
Yes, I've had a repeating dream, and thankfully I don't dream it anymore, but I used to dream of being in a house and the house raining outside and having this massive leak coming in, and it would come through the roof, and the water would just roll down the walls, and the paint would start peeling, and it was kind of like a acid trip dream, like whoa, and lo and behold, I had roof leak. I have a rental property, and my rental property roof leaked. And so, yeah, but I would wake up going, wow, this is like freaking acid trip, man. So bizarre. And over and over and over and over. So, yeah.
So it was a premonition.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
I've had those many, many times.
Yeah. I'm like, well, my house is all right, Yeah.
Yeah. Debra, what's the most memorable dream you've ever had?
So mine's a little bit, I also have had repetitive dreams, and it's the same dream, detail by detail, and it can happen years apart. It's not like I keep thinking of it and it happens like every night. I have been mauled to death by wolves, and I have this horrible fear of dogs to this day because of it. And I can see myself looking down. I'm wearing a black dress, apron, can hear the leaves crunching under my feet, and I can smell, like all the senses are there. So I feel this is more of a past life memory. And the way that it felt to me was Old Salem. I just kind of felt like I was in Salem, but I was surrounded, and I could smell their breath, and I could feel everything. And every now and then I have that dream just to remind me that I once lived another life. And I'm like, great.
Lovely dream.
Gentle. Yeah, right? That's when you get up for the night and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm good.
Okay, last question. Back to Sue. What's the most surprising fact that people would not guess about you?
Other than my close friends, when I'm out in public and at a show, I'm extremely sober with my demeanor, because I am like game face on, and I'm very business, very professional, and making sure the stage is good, making sure this is good. I'm backstage, I'm getting ready, I'm focused, and I'm very grounded, and again, very sober with who I am. So not too many people are close enough to me to recognize that I have a pretty good sense of humor, and I do enjoy laughing, but the general public rarely sees it.
Well, I feel blessed because I feel like I know you better.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Debra, what's the most surprising fact that people would not guess about you?
I would like to say that I am a baker. I love being in the kitchen. I could cook and bake, and do not know how to cook in small quantities. It's enough to feed an army. I'm Jewish by birth. I think it's a birthright. You eat. And I love to just bake things and make people happy and feed them. And it goes back to the first question, making everybody happy, laughing, eating, because those are the two things that bring people together, breaking bread and laughter.
So true. I often, it's Victor, my husband, he makes the kitchen the center of the house, but I'm always like, why is the whole coven standing in the kitchen? Every Sabbat, like we have all of these couches and all of this outdoor sitting area, and everybody's in the kitchen, like crowded together, It's just the center of the hearth, the hearth of the house.
Absolutely.
And Victor is the one that makes it that way, not me. He's the chef. Well, that was fun. Okay, so moving on to our teaser reveal. If everybody that's watching, if you didn't see the beginning of the show, I said one of our guests had a real life UFO experience. Stay tuned to find out who. Well, this is where you're going to find out. But we're going to have a little fun with the viewers. If you think that the UFO experiencer was Sue, type 1 in the chat now. And if you think it was Debra, type 2 in the chat now. And we'll give it like 10 seconds. 10, 9, 1 for Sue, 2 for Debra. Who was it that saw the UFO? I lost count. We'll call it there. How many 2s and 1s did we get, Draken?
Well, we have a 1.
We have a 1. Okay.
Yeah,
so
one.
The person that voted thinks
Oh, no, sorry. 3 1s. It's just kind of delayed coming through.
Oh, it's delayed.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to like find the chat. They're probably all on their phones and it's hard to find the chat, you know. So everybody thinks it's Sue. Okay, let's find out if that's correct. Will the real UFO experiencer please raise their hand? Oh my God, all 3 of us. That is so cool. I didn't know Sue. I knew about Debra.
Oh, yeah.
Debra
Wow.
is the one. So we're going to go with Debra, then we're going to go with Sue, and then we're going to go with me because I have a story too. All right. So, but let's try to keep the story, you know, less than 2 minutes. All right. Here we go. You're up, Debra.
All right, easy peasy. Passenger to car, driving down the street. I'm in Texas, and it's always, they're always in Texas. I think it's a lot of land. And I was looking out the window, and I saw this bright silver dot in the sky, and I was thinking, oh, there's an airplane, but it wasn't moving. And I kept watching it, and as the car's moving, it's literally staying in the same spot, and I was gauging it off of a telephone pole like it wasn't doing anything. And then all of a sudden, it just disappeared, like shot out. And I was like, I just saw a UFO. Like, oh my God. My whole thing with UFOs, I totally believe in them. My theory, this is just me, this is us from the future coming back here to try to course correct what we're doing so we don't destroy the earth, so us can still be here. And I couldn't believe that I saw it. I was just like, oh my God, I just saw a UFO. And it was cliche, bright silver dot, and then just gone.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. All right, Sue.
And I wasn't even tripping.
Yeah, I saw a couple times. I'm pretty clairvoyant. I see dead people all the time and stuff. But anyway, so it was nighttime, and I had a night gig, and I'm in a room, and I hear a kind of like propellers, real loud, whirling. And I turn around, and there's this brilliant bright light coming at me through the doorway. So picture yourself in a room, and you hear this whirling. I turn around, this brilliant bright light, and I'm like, whoa, you know, and I knew what it was. And to let you know, I've been sober for over 35 years. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, wow. And the whirling stopped, and I'm looking, and I'm like waiting. And then it took off. I mean, and it was like super fast, just boom down the hallway. And I ran out the door, and I saw the light, and the light got smaller, and poof. It was freaking tripping, man. And I know that's what it was. But I heard it, and I saw it. Yeah.
It came in the house?
I'll tell you what I was doing. I had a 3rd shift gig. I worked for a school system, and I was maintenance and I was doing 3rd shift. And I was in the art wing.
At a school.
Lights are on timers, as you know, in corporate buildings and schools and stuff. So, you know, it was nighttime. It was maybe 11 o'clock. And so there was all the lights had shut off in the hallway and stuff because everything's on timers. And I was by myself in the building, and I heard this. It was the you know, the propellers, and that I was the only one there, and it was as clear as
Wow.
day. The light was it was like this ship, if we would call it a ship. It was like it came down, was checking me out, and then it took off.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and it was as close. It was 15 feet away. Yeah, as big as a room, a classroom.
Wow.
So visualize
Wow.
a classroom. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty tripping, man. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Wow,
That was awesome.
So mine happened when I was a child on the farm in southern Missouri in broad daylight. So I'm from a little town outside of Springfield, Missouri, and about an hour and 15 minutes away from Springfield, Missouri. And about once a month, once every other month, my family would go into Springfield to go shopping at the malls and stuff and get stuff and then come back. Well, we had gotten back early before dark. Mom was inside cooking dinner, and Dad had gone to do some work somewhere else on somebody else's farm, I think. And this had to be like 72, 73, 1972, 1973. And if I was a good boy, I often got a helium balloon, and I always got a helium balloon. And that was my reward for being good all day. So I got a helium balloon, and I always played with it, and I was fascinated with how it would float. And my thing was I would tie a stick on the bottom of the balloon to counterbalance the floating part, and I'd throw it up, and then it would gently come back to earth, and I'd play the game, right? Well, I threw it up. My sister's outside watching me. She's 7 years older. And I threw it up, and a big gust of wind came and sucked it around the side of the house. So I ran around the house to get my balloon because I wasn't going to lose my balloon, And there it was. It was literally 12 feet above our heads, just, I would say, a foot, if above the power lines, floating. Completely silver, no windows, no doors, no rivets, no sound, just a silver bullet. So it was flat on one end and came out and came to a point on the other end. Now, since then, I've wondered if maybe half of it was inside or some other dimension or cloaked, and it was actually a flying saucer shape, but half of it was not visible. I have no idea. But to us, it looked flat on one side and then came to a gentle curve at the other side. And again, no doors, no windows, no rivets, no sound, just this silver thing about big enough to get 3 people in, maybe the size of a Volkswagen Bug or van or something like that. And I just froze, My sister came around the house. What are you doing? And then she went, and she saw it, and she came and stood right next to me. And I can feel this like to this day. And she elbowed me and said, "Go get Mom and get the camera." And I couldn't move. I was literally frozen. I literally could not move. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. It was like I was paralyzed. And my sister turned her head and screamed at the house, "Mom!" And at that point, I kind of snapped out of it, and I screamed, and I looked for Mama, to come out the house. And by the time I looked back, it was over our neighbor's house, 2 miles away, just like that. Okay. But we watched it, and it was hovering over the house, and then it would hover over the barn. It was kind of going back and forth like it was scanning or something, right? And then gone.
Yeah, just
it
like
went
that.
Across the horizon so fast your eyes could not follow it.
Yeah, they go fast.
And then here comes my mother out of the house, with a potato and a potato peeler. What? Right? And we're like, what? You know, and then she's like, oh, that was a weather balloon. You know, that was the common excuse back in those days. And she went back in the house, and my sister and I were freaking out. So here's the scary part of the story. We forgot about it. We stopped talking about it. Like it was completely erased from our brain.
Wow.
It wasn't until I was in college and I had called my sister on the phone. And for some reason, we started talking about something and it led to UFO. And then both of us just instantly went, oh my God, do you remember? And she's like, yeah, I remember. And I'm like, what happened? Like, why did we forget that? You know? And so then we started talking about it more, right? So then we talked to our cousins on my mom's side again, and they had had a UFO experience growing up before I was born. A UFO actually was sighted taking off from behind their house. The entire flying saucer, it had landed, left marks on the ground, took off, came over the house, came over the driveway. As it's going down the driveway, they're walking down the driveway to catch the school bus to go to school. Here comes the school bus. School bus driver saw it. All the kids on the school bus saw it. And Project Blue Book came to my little tiny town and interviewed every child, the school bus driver, and the mayor and the banks in the town to see what the reputation of the bus driver was. Like, you know, were they a drunk or not or whatever. And everything was up and up. Like if he said he saw it, he saw it. Everybody stood up for him. So maybe it runs in the family. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but that actually happened. I get very nervous when I talk about it, and things have happened since, off and on throughout my life. We'll save that for another day. But I had no idea that, Sue, you had an experience as well. So that's kind of crazy. 3 of us have seen UFOs.
Yeah.
Draken, it's your turn.
I do not know that I've ever seen a UFO, and if I did, it's gone. But we have a comment here from Kimberly about your theory, Deb, that she likes that theory. And I mean, I actually do too. I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
It makes sense.
Thank you, Kim.
It makes sense to me.
I have a scientific brain, so I take everything with a grain of salt, but that is one of my theories too. As I told Deborah before, I feel that it's either, you know, aliens from another planet. That's one explanation. Beings from another dimension.
Right.
Maybe. Us from the future coming back in time. Possibly.
Yeah.
The truth is, we as a general populace, we don't know. The powers that be, they may know, but they're not telling us, right? But that actually did happen to me and my sister, and we do remember every detail of it now. Yeah, it's weird that we forgot it for so many years. From the age of 72, I would have been like 6 or 7, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was in college, right, in my early 20s, until I remembered and my sister remembered. Anyway, interesting stories for sure. Okay, guys, it's finally time. It's time to do the arcane giveaway, and I am not ready for that. That is the one thing I forgot to set up. It'll only take me a second. I hope everybody's ready to type the comment in the chat of YouTube. The hashtag that you're going to type is hashtag mirror. It's hashtag mirror. Okay. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to do so. All right. Here we go. So hashtag mirror, What you're going to do is someone is about to get the 2 CDs from Sue, the half-hour psychic reading from Debra, that lovely scrying mirror also from Debra as a sponsor. You're also going to get the $25 gift coupon for paganmusic.com. You're also going to get the free ongoing membership to my Coven of Cool Cats community online. All for just typing #mirror in the YouTube comments now. Okay? And it's a live drawing. You're going to see me hit the button and see your name fly by, and it's going to land on one person, which is going to be our winner of this month. We got 10 seconds left on the clock, and then I'm going to share it and hit the button. 2, 1, and here we go. Share screen. Where's my screen? Where did it go? It's live, guys. I'm trying.
It's all good.
It's that pregnant pause.
Why is it not working?
The excitement builds.
I'm just trying to share it so everybody can see it.
I mean, this is probably a good spot for a drum roll. I wonder if we have a drummer.
Oh, drum roll.
That's pretty impressive, actually. Excellent.
There we go. I got it. Woohoo!
Yay!
All right. So we got 6 entries. Good luck. Here we go. Pula! Paola. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name.
Yay.
Paola Thomas, you are our winner. You just won everything we just talked about.
Sweet.
Please get in touch with me at lordalexian@gmail.com and tell me your physical address and where to send everything to, and we'll get it right out to you. All right. Thank you once again to my guests and Debra and Draken, of course, for her ongoing support. Yes. Congratulations to Paola. I love the name, Paola. But to express my heartfelt thank you to both my guests and my sponsors today. Thank you so much for joining us and making this show special. Draken and I will be back next month along with new guests, including our pagan recording artist guest, Eric. Have a wonderful, fabulous day, and we will see you next month. Boss blessing.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next month.